Every single day, a new headline, a new job the machines are supposedly about to erase. So let's cut through the noise and find out which ones are actually true.
Other companies in the market can like do more things with this money that I can't.
And put aside Anthropic. I'm just trying to like, because I don't want to give information about Anthropic, is why I'm giving these
That's the
stylized
CEO
numbers.
of one of the world's top AI labs, telling you your job might already be on a list. So let's actually make the list. 15 jobs, 3 piles, red, replace, green, never, amber, augment. Which pile is your job in? Let's find out. Now, before the fear takes over, here's my promise to you. There is one thing AI can never take from you, no matter which pile you land in. I'm going to name it out loud, but I'm not going to name it yet. First, you need to see how bad the replace wave really gets, because the payoff at the end only lands if the fear is honest. And I'm not here to sell you fear. I'm here to hand you a map. So here's the deal. We rank all 15, 5 red, 5 green, 5 amber, every claim backed by a source you'll see on screen, and every job in the red pile, the scary one, walks out with a concrete next move, not just learn to adapt. I hate that advice. An actual skill, an actual door you can walk through this month. Disruptive at the click, useful all the way down. One more thing to watch for. One job on this list shows up twice. Once in red, once in amber. Hold that. It's the whole thesis in a single career. Red pile first. Deep breath. Rule of the red pile, and I need you to hear the whole sentence. AI eats the repetitive volume and the entry-level task first. It does not eat the judgment. Keep that in your back pocket. It's going to matter a lot in about 10 minutes. 20%. That's how many entry-level customer support jobs just vanished from late 2022 to the middle of 2025, according to a Stanford study built on real payroll data. But here's the tell that everyone misses. Experienced reps in the exact same role, they held steady. The AI didn't come for the job. It came for the first rung of the ladder, and then Klarna went nuclear. The fintech's AI agent did the work of 700 human agents, handled 2/3 of all their chats, 2.3 million a month. So it's over, right? Except in 2025, Klarna quietly started rehiring humans because the bot fell apart on the complex, emotional, angry customer cases. And Gartner found only 1 in 5 support leaders actually cut headcount at all. Most kept their team and just served more people. So if you're in support, don't panic. Pivot. The value migrates fast, from answering the ticket to fixing what the machine jams on, to designing the conversation and coaching the AI's flows. A real paid job now, to owning the relationship and customer success. The repetitive reply got automated. The empathy became the entire job. Translators are the cleanest real-world replacement case we have. Not a projection, not a scary forecast. It already happened. In a survey of nearly 800 professionals, 36% had already lost work to generative AI. 43% watched their income drop. And a study of 3 million freelance posts found demand for translating major Western languages fell around 30% after ChatGPT launched. The US government even downgraded the whole occupation's outlook. But listen to what actually got automated. Good enough translation. Not the translation where a single wrong word is a lawsuit, a misdiagnosis, or a wrecked brand. So the humans move up to post-editing, getting paid to fix and certify the machine, to transcreation and cultural localization for marketing and games, to the high-stakes niches AI can't touch, legal, sworn, medical, patents, and live interpretation in a courtroom or a hospital. The irony, 37% of translators already use AI themselves. The winners charge for the curation now, not the typing. If you write for a living, this one stings. Freelance demand for automatable writing fell somewhere between 20 and 50% after ChatGPT, and it hit the short, fast jobs hardest. Company About Us pages down 50%. The commodity paragraph is dead. Short, generic, swap in a keyword copy was the very first thing to go, because it's exactly what a language model does in 1 second for free. But, same study, crucial detail, demand for the complementary work went up. The strategy, the machine learning adjacent skills. So the copywriter climbs the ladder, brand voice, the exact tone the AI is trying to imitate and can't originate. Editor and director with real fact-checking and expertise. Reported, lived experience journalism where you actually talk to a human. A model can hallucinate a sentence. It cannot hallucinate a reputation, and it cannot go stand in the room where the story happened. 2 years ago, the World Economic Forum, 1,000 employers, 14 million workers, 55 countries, called graphic design a moderately growing job. In their 2025 Future of Jobs report, it flipped to the 11th fastest shrinking job on the planet over 5 years. And about 26% of illustrators say they've already lost work to AI. Tools like Midjourney and Firefly collapse the mock-ups, the layouts, the 50 variations, the entry-level grind into a prompt. Midjourney basically looked at 1,000 mock-ups and said, I'll take it from here. But here's the crack in the doom, and it's a big one. While production shrinks, salaries for in-house design directors actually went up. Read that again. Companies are paying a human more to direct the AI, because AI eats the arm, not the brain. So you climb from the hand to the head, art direction, brand identity, design systems, motion, 3D, product and UX. Your job becomes generating 100 options in a minute and owning the taste and the client relationship that picks the one right one. Number 1 on the red list. And if you're a developer, this is the one you clicked for. Brace yourself. Software developers aged 22 to 25 saw employment fall about 20% from its late 2022 peak. Senior devs over the same stretch? Basically flat. Harvard tracked 62 million workers across 285,000 companies, junior hiring down 9 to 10% at the firms that adopted AI. Over half of engineering leaders now say they'll hire fewer juniors because of AI co-pilots. And why? The entry-level task, the boilerplate, the simple debug, the unit tests, is exactly what the AI is best at. But watch closely, because this is the hinge of the entire video. The seniors did not fall. The repetitive seat disappeared, not the engineer. The profession isn't dying. The cheapest rung is. And remember I promised one job shows up twice? This is it. Hold that thought. You will see this exact job again in a completely different pile, earning more because of the very tool that's squeezing it here. And that single fact is the whole thesis of this video.
My savings are in shares in banks, held by banks. So if the bank
A Nobel laureate just told you to be a plumber. He's half right, and by the end you'll see exactly which half. By the end, I'll hand you the adjacent skill for your role. But right now, watch what AI simply cannot touch. Every headline screams replace, but the data underneath says something the headlines leave out. Some jobs AI runs into, not away from. Here's the irony that should make every laid-off knowledge worker sit straight up. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects about 81,000 electrician openings every single year through 2034, and it's growing 9%, way above average, at a median of $62,000. And McKinsey says the U.S. needs 130,000 more electricians by 2030 just to build the data centers that the AI itself runs on. Sit with that. AI literally cannot build the physical world it depends on. Electrical work is 45 to 70% of the cost of a data center, and Oracle already pushed back OpenAI data center dates, partly for lack of skilled hands. The robot uprising is running about 80 years behind schedule. It still can't reliably pick up a wrench. It's called Moravec's paradox. For AI, reasoning is cheap and hands are expensive. So the trades aren't behind, they're needed. Apprentice and earn while you learn, and walk out with no debt. Specialize on the highest paid frontier: data center power, EV charging, solar and battery, high voltage. Let the AI do the quote, the schedule, the fault diagnosis on an AR overlay. You're the hand and the human judgment that installs it and certifies it safe. If you got laid off from a screen job, hear this. This is the one place on the whole list where AI's growth increases the demand for your body, on site. The world is short about 5.8 million nurses. In the US alone, a shortfall of over 500,000 registered nurses by 2030, and roughly 189,000 openings every single year. Because nursing was never information work. It's the physical care of a vulnerable human body in real time with your license on the line. Turning a patient so they don't get bed sores. Catching the subtle sign that someone's crashing by touch, by the color of their skin, by a feeling 20 years of shifts gave you. Calming a terrified family. Holding a hand at the very end of a life. A chatbot can write the chart. It cannot be a body at the bedside, and it can't be held responsible for a call that goes wrong. So AI shows up here as a co-pilot. It drafts the documentation, helps with triage and monitoring, and hands the nurse hours back with the patient. This is a runway measured in decades, not months. The World Health Organization, the WEF, and the BLS all call it a growth profession, median $93,000. And the ladders it opens are perfect for anyone fleeing a tech layoff. Nurse informatics, the human who bridges clinical care and the AI systems. Nurse practitioner, CRNA. Healthcare is desperate for people who understand software and humans. In 2025, the American Psychological Association did something genuinely rare. It issued a public health warning to everyone. Do not rely on AI chatbots to deliver therapy, because the bots tend to blindly affirm the user even when what the user is saying is dangerous. Meanwhile, the profession is growing 19%, about 3 times the average, roughly 48,000 openings a year. And the science here is clean. Decades of meta-analyses all point to the same thing. The therapeutic alliance, the human bond between two people in a room, is the single strongest predictor that therapy actually works, no matter the technique. You literally cannot outsource the healing mechanism to a model, because the mechanism is the relationship. So if this is your field, hear this. Your empathy is not a soft skill. It is the active clinical ingredient, and regulators are now protecting it by name. AI can draft your session notes, handle scheduling and insurance, run structured exercises between sessions. It never replaces you. The bond is the moat. This one is different. It isn't about what AI can't do. It's about what we as a society will simply not let it do. The European Union's AI Act, enforced since 2024, puts AI used by a court in its highest risk tier, and it legally requires the final decision to remain, in its own words, a human-driven activity. That's not a preference, that's a binding law, because a verdict is an act of authority that a human being has to answer for. A black box model gives no real reasons, carries no moral weight, and cannot be held responsible for ruining or saving a life. Estonia's so-called robot judge stalled on exactly this: due process. UNESCO drew the same line for judiciaries worldwide in 2025. And here is the single most transferable lesson in this entire video. Write it down, because it applies to your job too. The moat was never knowing the rules. The AI knows the rules perfectly. The moat is being the accountable human who owns the decision. So lawyers and paralegals watching discovery and drafting get automated. Read the signal, don't fear it. The AI clears the grunt work, and you rise to the advocacy, the negotiation, the judgment that a court, a client, and the law require a person to sign. Accountability is a promotion, not a task. Number 1 in the green pile, and read this frame very carefully because this exact job comes back later wearing a completely different hat, and I don't want you to think I'm repeating myself. About 103,800 K through elementary teaching jobs open every year. And here's the honesty that earns your trust. Yes, the BLS projects a small dip, 2%, but that dip is demographic. It's fewer kids being born. It is not automation. And preschool teaching is actually growing, about 65,000 openings a year, because no parent on earth will ever hand their 5-year-old's entire day to a chatbot. Learning is relational, motivation, attention, socio-emotional development, classroom management, and above all, the trust a parent places in an adult who is caring for their child. That is safeguarding a human being in formation, and no model provides it. Now notice, I am only talking about the bond right now. Hold that word bond, because there is a second, completely separate reason teaching survives, and it's a number so strong it earns teaching a spot in the amber pile too. We'll get there in Act 3.
Communicate has been completely transformed by the internet. It was very clear at the time. It was also very clear that the internet would introduce a lot of new goods and services, and
a Nobel economist just cooled the clock 5% over a decade. The apocalypse is running late, which means you still have time. But time for what? Because here's the twist, the layoff emails will never send you. Here's the part nobody puts in that layoff email. Being never replaced was never the goal. Being augmented is.
This is a giant game, but we're working.
Or more particularly expertise, and the answer is actually both. So let me define what I mean by expertise. Expertise means like a specific.
A serious labor economist, not a lab CEO, thinks this could lift people up. So let's climb. 5 jobs that don't disappear, they rise in altitude. In 2016, the godfather of AI himself, Geoffrey Hinton, stood up and said it plainly. Stop training radiologists right now. They'll be obsolete within 5 years. The AI will read every scan. So, 10 years later? Radiologists earn $571,000 on average, UP 9% last year alone, and the Mayo Clinic didn't shrink its radiology department, it grew it by 55%. The prophecy didn't just miss, it inverted. And Hinton, to his credit, went on the record and admitted he got it wrong. Here's why. The AI triages the scans, flags the findings, measures the lesions, acts as a tireless second reader, so radiologists read more, not fewer. The final diagnosis, the messy human conversation, the interventional procedures, still human. The doctor who used to just find the nodule now decides what it means for this specific person in front of them. The ones who embraced the tool became indispensable because of it. Remember the junior dev, dead last in the red pile? Here's the exact same job, reborn in amber. This one career, in 2 piles, is the thesis of the whole video. The numbers are wild. Developers work 55% faster with AI in a GitHub study of nearly 5,000 engineers. AI already writes about 46% of code, 61% in Java. 84% of devs use it or plan to. But, and this is the number that pays your salary, only 3% deeply trust the output, and 2/3 get burned by answers that are almost right, but not. I'm not going to paint a rainbow here. The junior door is genuinely tight. Entry rolls down about 28% since 2022, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. AI is the fastest junior developer in the world. So your value migrates straight up the stack to architecture, taste, system design, code review, deciding what to build, verifying it's correct and secure, and orchestrating fleets of AI agents. If you're starting out, that means you can level up faster than any generation before you. If you're a founder, it's pure leverage. Ship more with a smaller team because AI generates the code. It does not carry the pager at 3 a.m. AI doesn't sign the deploy. You do. AI can save about 240 hours per lawyer per year, according to Thomson Reuters. A 6-hour contract review drops to 2. A 4-hour memo drops to 40 minutes. Clio found 74% of billable hourly tasks are automatable. But here's the guardrail nobody can automate away. AI hallucinations have already gotten real lawyers sanctioned in front of a judge for citing cases that never existed. So the tedium dies, not the career. That freed up time gets reallocated to strategy, advocacy, counsel, client relationships, and the one thing that never transfers, the responsibility of signing your name to the call. The new diligence is hunting the hallucination. Treat AI like a brilliant intern, brilliant and always checked. And for junior lawyers, this is good news. You reach real judgment sooner instead of drowning in mechanical hours. Adoption jumped from 28 to 41% of firms in a single year. That's reorganization, not extinction. Finding the three-dimensional shape of one single protein used to take a scientist years and hundreds of thousands of dollars at the lab bench. Google DeepMind's AlphaFold does it in minutes. It has now predicted over 200 million protein structures, nearly every one known to science, work that would have taken hundreds of millions of years of bench time. It won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Chemistry, and over 2 million researchers in 190 countries use it right now to accelerate drugs, enzymes, and vaccines. So sit with this line because it's the heart of the amber pile. AI did not take the Nobel from the scientist. It gave the Nobel to the scientist. It didn't replace them. It demolished the years-long bottleneck so researchers can ask bolder questions, design braver experiments, and interpret what actually matters. The rare, valuable skill becomes knowing which questions are worth asking and validating what the AI predicts out in the real world. A one-person lab can now punch like a super lab.
Used reinforcement learning for any kind of scaled up problem. It was just being used, you know, it's very kind of, it was obviously an academic discipline, but it was used mostly for toy problems,
told you to
like little
hold
grid
way
worlds.
back in the green
It wasn't clear.
pile. Let me be crystal clear about the difference, because it's the point. In green, teaching survives because of the bond, the irreplaceable human relationship a parent trusts. Here in amber, it's a totally separate argument, time. A Gallup and Walton Family Foundation study found teachers who use AI weekly save about 5.9 hours a week, roughly 6 weeks back over a school year. So AI becomes the tireless assistant every teacher has always wished for. It drafts the lesson plan, does the first pass grading, differentiates the work by each kid's level, and it hands those 6 weeks straight back to the work only a human can do. Connection, motivation, mentorship, reading the face of the kid who just froze up. It even cuts burnout in a field where nearly 1 in 5 teachers is planning to quit. Same job, 2 piles. The bond keeps it safe, and the time dividend makes it soar. So, that one thing AI can never take from you, no matter which pile you're in, it's this: the judgment, the accountability, and the ownership of the problem. AI generates the code. It doesn't carry the pager at 3 a.m. AI knows the law. It can't be the human who signs the verdict. AI drafts the lesson. It can't be the person a scared kid trusts. Across all 15 jobs, the pattern is one pattern. It's not substitution. It's a migration of value, EP. Red, the repetitive volume goes first, but every one of those roles has a door up the stack. Green, bodies, trust, and responsibility AI can't reach. Amber, you plus AI at higher altitude. The junior dev and the software engineer were the same job in two piles. That's the whole thesis. The value didn't vanish. It moved. Your move is to follow it.
Yeah, by going to massive scale, tens of billions of dollars investment, we can maintain an incredible lead.
Share with you some of the lessons I've learned building startups, especially around this changing AI technology and what it enables. And it'll be focused on the theme of speed.
You won't lose your job to an AI. You'll lose it to someone who learned to use one. So be that someone. Here's what I want from you. Drop your exact job title in the comments, and I'll reply with the one adjacent skill that moves you from red or amber to future-proof using the research from this video. First 50 get a full path, not a one-liner. This is the best time in history to start. See you in the comments.